The City of Bristol, providing beautiful parks, economic development, and a family-friendly community.
The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the regular joint meeting on March 10th and the special meeting on March 31st, 2020.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Fortier, seconded by Hahn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, I think. Consent calendar, we have 6 items, items A through F. Are there any items that anybody would like to remove from the consent calendar? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3 is to transfer $200,000 from the Capital Projects Schools Contingency Fund to the Green Hills Legal Fees account.
Move it.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion?
No, Scott's been remoting in.
Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, so we're going to just, for those of you that we can see, if you need to speak, just kind of indicate via the video so that we can call on you. And in terms of the people who are using the phone link and are not video conferencing, you're going to have to unmute your phone yourself, and we will watch for that so that we can call on you. Right now, the motion that is on the table is to transfer $200,000 from the Capital Projects Schools Contingency Fund to the Green Hills Legal Fees account. It has been motioned and it has been seconded, and we were at discussion point. So is there anybody that is on the video conference or on the phone that would like to comment on item 3? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unless you think we need a roll call.
No,
No.
I think that's
Okay.
fine. Do we just want to go over quickly, did everybody hear the consent calendar and then?
Yes, so Therese is also suggesting that I go back and review one more time the consent calendar. Were there any items on the consent calendar that anybody would like to discuss, if it wasn't clear before? Okay, so we're going to move on to Diane's report, and she's going to be doing it from the dais with one of the microphones attached to our seats.
Hi, everyone. So you have the report through the end of March. Really, everything through the end of March right now is coming through as well as can be expected. I mean, our tax revenues right now are at 99.6%. We are a little bit ahead of where we were last year, percentage-wise. It's $5.81 million more in tax revenues compared to the same time last year. You know, we're keeping a close eye on that in light of everything happening over the last couple of weeks with the economy, but the tax office is actually still collecting revenues. I have actually seen the cash receipts coming in relatively steadily for this time of the year. Building permit revenue right now is at 99.1% of our budget, which is $101,440,000, which is a little bit more than where we were last year. We were at $918,000. Conveyance fees are coming in stronger than last year as well at 96.2%. And then investment earnings, we've actually exceeded where we were at this point last year. We are at 105% of the budget, but as I've mentioned in previous reports, we will keep a close eye on that in light of interest rates really down to zero over the last few weeks. So I know the treasurer's office has provided me with updated projections through the end of the year. We do feel we will come in at around 1.1 million towards the end of the year. But as I had mentioned in the budget workshop, we will want to take another look at investment income for the budget for 2020-21. On the expenditure side of the budget, we have had some savings, particularly in our snow budget, because it was a relatively light year, or a very light year. So a lot of departments have been asked to look at where they might have some savings, and as I reported in my budget presentation, there may be some capital items that they will come forward with before the end of the year to use some of those funds for those capital items that we took out of the budget for next year. With regard to the Board of Ed, again, they still do have their spending freeze. As you know, they have a lot going on. We are working with them to see what kind of realized savings they will have towards the end of the year, and we have had discussions with any potential to use any of the state statute that allows for them to carry over up to 1% of their budget should they have a surplus. So that is something that we have been working with them and have been in discussions, but it keeps changing every day with the governor's executive orders, so we're trying to stay on top of all of that. The next budget workshop is scheduled for next Tuesday, the 21st at 6 p.m. here on WebEx again, right now. We will have the Board of Finance right now is scheduled to adopt their budget, recommend the budget to the joint board on April 28th at after their regular meeting. We are working with implementing many of the COVID-19 programs. It's been very challenging trying to decipher a lot of the legislation that's come through, a lot of them that do affect payroll. So my office has been busy with that. And we are also developing some centralized FEMA forms so that everything can be submitted on a centralized basis. So I think with that, I think that just about covers somewhat of an update. Again, we're closely monitoring how we end this year, and we'll need to take a look at how we finally adopt the budget for next year as well with everything going on. Are there any questions, if we can hear you?
Diane, I have one quick question, please.
Okay.
And my question has to do with disbursements. Has the city been able to keep up with accounts payable and disbursements out to vendors and suppliers and contractors?
So good question. The office is actually working in shifts. Half are in 1 week, half are working remotely that week. So we actually have it pretty well organized with our accounts payable and our payroll staff that we're able to keep on top of all the accounts payable invoices that are coming in. I think there's one, usually we do 2 accounts payable runs a week. Every other week we are doing only 1, and we have been coordinating them. I have not seen where we've had a slowdown, and I know even with the Board of Education, with them working remotely, so far everything seems to be working okay. So no, I have no concerns at this point.
And a follow-up to that question, which obviously my intent was to be sure that we're helping out economically as best we can, the city. The reverse question, are there any payments that the city is making to that can be delayed?
Again, a good question. I'd have to look into that and see what we could possibly delay. I don't think there's anything that has come to my attention that we can at this point, but we could look at that.
Are there any other questions of Diane? Okay. That concludes the joint board meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're going to move directly into our city council meeting since we're running a little behind schedule due to our technical difficulties. So for those of you who are going to stay joined with us, I think they can do so in the same We're just flowing into the next WebEx. So we're going to convene the city council meeting now. I'd like to ask those of you who are with us in the chambers, the few people that are here, as well as to the discretion of those of you on the WebEx, we are going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For our opening ceremonies, I think it would be appropriate tonight that our moment of reflection be for all the victims of the coronavirus, not only here in Bristol, of which we've had several deaths recorded, as well as many people suffering, but across the world. This is something that is unforeseen, and hopefully we are going to come out of this as a stronger and more resilient community. Thank you. The second item on our agenda are the approval of minutes of the regular city council meeting on March 10th, the special city council meetings on March 16th and March 23rd in the year 2020. Are there motions for all three of them? I know that there was a correction that was noted earlier today. That'll be incorporated.
Motion to accept?
Second.
The motion has been made by Councilman Hahn and seconded by Councilwoman Fortier for all three sets of minutes to be approved as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I see on the WebEx that there are 5 people who have called in. I just want to make sure that if there is anybody here for public participation, that they have the opportunity to address the council. If you are here for public participation, please unmute your phone and you can identify yourself and the topic that you would like to speak on. Okay, so hearing no public participation, we're going to move on to item 4, which is announcements. We'll start with those that are in council chambers. Are there any announcements to come before the council? Councilman Fortier.
None for me.
None, thank you. None, Your Honor.
Okay. Councilwoman Barney, do you have any announcements?
No announcements, just a big thank you to everybody at City Hall that's been helping to keep everything moving forward with all these meetings. We really appreciate it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Kelly, any announcements?
I do not, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilman Rosado?
No, I don't, Mayor. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the consent calendar, we have several items here as well. Items 5A through 5G. Would anybody from the City Council like to remove any of the consent calendar agenda items as they are presented? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve consent calendar items 5A through G?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to reports and committee reports. Our first item is 6A from the Real Estate Committee to negotiate and enter into a lease agreement with Bristol Hospital, Inc. and/or its assigns for 51 High Street, Bristol, Connecticut. Is there a motion?
Yes, Your Honor, I have a motion. I hereby move to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to negotiate and enter into a lease agreement with Bristol Hospital, Inc. and/or its assigns for city-owned property located at 51 High Street, Bristol, Connecticut. I further move that this matter be referred to the Corporation Counsel's office to effectuate the same.
Second.
Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. The next 3 items are from the Salary Committee. Would you like to take them in order, Mary?
Yes. Item B is to approve changes to salaries and benefits for full-time and part-time non-bargaining employees as presented and referred to the Board of Finance for informational purposes. Without my notes in front of me, I believe this was a 2% increase for those non-bargaining employees, and the cost share for healthcare is the same as the BPSA unit.
And I believe they're going into the high deductible healthcare plan.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, the motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on the salary committee motion, 6B. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item C, before I read the motion, my understanding is that while we approved this in salary committee for a July 1st, 2020 effective date, there's a different effective date, March 11th of this year. So I'm going to read it in its amended form.
Okay.
To approve an upgrade of the position of payroll clerk, Local 233, from pay code 6, $21.80 hourly to $24.20 hourly to pay code 7, $23.55 hourly to $26.10 hourly, effective March 11th, 2020, and to refer to the Board of Finance for informational purposes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and for discussion purposes, I believe this is because there have been other duties added to this job code.
Correct.
Okay. Are there any questions from anybody in the chambers or any of the council members online? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item D, to approve a new position of project manager, BPSA salary level 9, $77,183 to $99,714, and to eliminate the position of assistant city engineer, BPSA salary level 9, effective April 15th, 2020, and to refer to the Board of Finance for informational purposes. Again, this is simply replacing one position with another at the same salary level.
Is there a second for discussion purposes?
Second.
Okay. I believe this is one, and we do have the Public Works Director with us, but we went through almost a 2-year period where we were unable to attract an assistant city engineer with that title and job description. So the Public Works Department has revamped that and made a project manager position at the same salary level, which will be really more flexible in what the needs of the department are within the engineering division, and I think it'll serve that department well with this change. Is there any further comments or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item E is the Memorial Boulevard Intra-District Arts Magnet School Building Committee report from Councilman Proleski.
Thank you, Your Honor. The committee met remotely on March 26th, and as I think I represented last month, that the state of Connecticut approved on March 11th the presentation for the Plan 1 work for the development of the Memorial Boulevard Intra-District School plans. What they also approved was our ability to go out to bid for the project, which bids are out, and they are due back on April 21st. And the construction manager in the city will work to roll up all those expenses as they come in and make a presentation to the building committee. Hopefully, it may not be complete, but we'll be pretty close to complete on our next building committee, which is on April 23rd. This is a very important time for the project, and it's a critical stage in my view. We hope to have a more detailed presentation available to this city council at our next meeting in May. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions of Councilman Proleski pertaining to the Memorial Boulevard? Okay, before we go
I'm
to...
sorry. I have one question.
Okay, go ahead.
If we read those minutes, will we learn more about like the progress of the project? Has it been affected at all by COVID-19?
The project itself? No.
Yes, has there been any delay in anything that's been
No.
required or moving on next?
Not at this point, Brittany, no.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
This is an aside, but the only project that has had a temporary effect from COVID is the Page Park Pool Project. The subcontractor that does the gutter installation took themselves off the job, but we're expecting them to come back soon. And they are a very specialized company, so we're first in line hopefully for when they resume their work. But that's the only impact to date on the Page Park Pool Project. Okay, before we go to our council members that are on the screen, are there any other committee reports from the council members that are here in the chambers?
Yeah, may I add one brief
Yes.
one?
Councilman Prolesky.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Southside School HVAC and air conditioning project met and has been meeting monthly, and that as part of our consent calendar, we approved the commissioning agent of Van Zelm, Haywood, and Shadford. The specs, plans, and development plan is in place and finalized, and we're going out to bid. The pre-bids are scheduled for April 17th, and the bids are due back on May 1st. The project is so far on budget and on time. Thank you.
Thank you. So for the council members who are joining us remotely, Councilwoman Barney, do you have any committee reports at this time? Okay. Councilman Rosado, do you have any committee reports?
No, I think you'll address that in the coronavirus update.
Okay. And Councilman Kelly, do you have any committee reports?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. Excuse me. I would like to speak about what the Board of Education is doing insofar as the pandemic is concerned. Some things I'm going to mention aren't related, but everyone will be able to figure that out. Recently, over 2,000 Chromebooks have been distributed and will be continue to be distributed to students. And there's been over 40,000 meals prepared and distributed to our students, and hats off to the food service staff for the great job they're doing. And as an Alliance district, Bristol is going to receive Dell laptops for each high school student in early May. And this will be communicated with parents and students as to how the distribution process will work. And insofar as virtual learning is concerned, 3, if necessary, 4 phases are going to be implemented in response to the pandemic. The first phase, which was in the first 10 days of the pandemic, involved meeting basic needs, both educationally and family-oriented. The second phase, March 30th to April 9th, involved efficacy with technology and just learning to be more comfortable with the new way of instruction and new way of learning. The third phase, April 20th to May 20th, involves virtual classrooms. And the fourth phase, if needed, will continue to refine practices from phase 3 based on student and family feedback, and it'll determine if live instruction can actually occur. And the Board of Ed will also be developing plans for summer or after school learning to address learning topics which will be taught virtually. And there's been many systems of support that have been built for families, beginning with contacting their child's teacher. A technical assistant document is created and is available on the Board of Education webpage. So there is support and concern everywhere, and everyone is pulling on their oar. And the Board of Ed's focus is connecting to families and students and being supportive during this time. And the Bristol Board of Education and Bristol are all heart, and we are in this together. And the Board of Education and the city will continue to work together on the All Heart Initiative for food volunteers and other needs as they arise. So that is it. And I'll pass the baton to the next person. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Kelly. Does anybody have any questions of Councilman Kelly concerning the Board of Education update? Or any other questions? Okay. So moving on, we will go to unfinished business, and that is a motion that is going to come forward concerning the Memorial Boulevard School. So I will send this over to Councilman Proleski. The actual motion is to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to sign a long-term lease agreement with Barnes Group, Inc. for approximately 0.85 acres to be used for additional parking at Memorial Boulevard School. And now, Councilman Proleski, if you can just give a brief overview of the work that you've been doing on this piece.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, we'd like to amend that motion to correct the square footage as it states on our agenda to 0.622 acres.
622.
Thank you.
Okay.
A significant part of the plan of development for the Memorial Boulevard School is parking, and ensuring that there's enough parking both for the school and school resources, but also for the community theater. In grappling with that problem or challenge, we've been negotiating, and hats off to our Corporation Counsel's office, we've been negotiating with the Barnes Group for a lease agreement that is culminating tonight for the use of their parking space to the west of our building. I'd like to read the motion. I hereby move that the City of Bristol enter into a lease agreement as negotiated with Associated Spring, a business of Barnes Group, Inc., for premises comprising of 0.622 acres located at the westerly corner of Willis Street and Memorial Boulevard, Bristol, Connecticut, for initial 30-year term with the option to renew for 4 additional 5-year terms. For automobile parking associated with the use of Memorial School, for municipal public school purposes and community-sponsored civic, artistic, recreational, and/or athletic events held at the Memorial Boulevard School property only, including use for parking for school and for community-related events or community-sponsored performances held in the auditorium at Memorial Boulevard School. I further move that the mayor, Ellen A. Zaposasu, or acting mayor, be authorized to sign said lease agreement subject to final review by the Corporation Council. I further move that this matter be referred to the Board of Finance for any necessary action. Thank you.
The motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion on the motion. So for clarity, I believe that the lease at this point, from a dollar value perspective, is going to be $3,000 a year. Right? And the terms are a 30-year lease? And then renewable for 4 or 5-year terms for a 50-year lease, which gets us to where we need to be from a land use perspective. Okay.
What was the amount per month?
Yes.
$3,000 annual.
3,000, okay, thank you.
Your Honor, does this solve all of the parking issues that were associated with the project?
I think so.
So there won't be any need for expanding on the other side and on the field, or?
We don't, Councilman, we don't see that at this point, no.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And I'd just like to add my thanks to Corporation Counsel. This has been a very difficult lease and time-consuming, and I appreciate everything that you've done to get this across the finish line at a time period that we needed it to be done for land use purposes. Moving on to new business. We have several items to bring onto the agenda that I just want to talk about briefly, and then we had one that was listed, which was the update on the coronavirus response. But we're also going to, within this category, in the next few minutes, ask for 4 items to be brought onto the table. The first one is going to concern the Louisiana Avenue Bridge project. We are trying to also do an extension for the historic documents grant that is in the town and city clerk's office. We are going to be bringing onto the table the fire contract with Local 773, and also a discussion concerning the tax deferment issue as put down by one of the governor's executive orders that we as a community need to make a decision on. So those are going to be coming. I briefly just wanted to take a moment to update everyone on the coronavirus response from the city. Obviously, it is in the news. It is an overwhelming issue that we see in just about every decision that we've been making for the last 2 or 3 weeks. We've had a great response here from our departments, and they have really been able to pivot, and we have staggered shifts. We have some departments working half mornings, half afternoons. We have the police and the fire departments who have enacted certain types of restrictions in order to protect the first responder workforce. We have some public works divisions working a full week, but leaving after their routes in solid waste. We're staggering the streets division. We have garage working. Transfer station remains open. So it really is a situation where we're trying to equate what the workforce issues are to what the community needs. And to date, it's all working very well. And I'm very happy that to date, right now, we have a healthy workforce. And our main goal is to keep that way here in this building, as well as those are out on the streets. We have also been overwhelmed with both the need, but also the generosity of people within the community who are participating through the All Heart Hotline. And I just want to take a moment to thank Councilwoman Fortier, because when she had her courthouse closed, she came into the mayor's office and took over the gigantic task of assigning all of these volunteers, which number 100, and taking that and organizing it for the lunch distribution sites, for our efforts with Food Share, as well as all the other ancillary issues that have arisen with those volunteers. That has now allowed Kathy Savino in my office to concentrate on making partnerships and connections between resources within the community and the people who are actually calling into the hotline, of which there are many. So we've established relationships with the Housing Authority. We're working very closely with the Board of Education, as Councilman Kelly alluded to, so that there is no duplication of effort, and there's also leveraging of the resources that we have. And our concern is that as this continues, that the most vulnerable populations that we're dealing with in conjunction with our social service agency providers, including St. Vincent de Paul, including so many people who have stepped forward to help, including Emmanuel Lutheran School, where we're going to be hopefully utilizing their gym as an ancillary space for the homeless, especially if there ends up being an outbreak in that population, as well as this week, United Way has been helping us with grocery shopping. The concern is that our older generation, who probably have the means to shop but don't have the opportunity to shop either online and shouldn't be leaving their house, are now running to the point that their groceries are going low. So we're setting up a situation, and we've received a generous donation from the Johnny Tavera Foundation today that is going to be able to front load us buying groceries for seniors, and then hopefully those seniors refunding that purchase price to put it back into the foundation, and then we can continue to do this for as long as it is advisable that our seniors stay home and stay safe. So those are some great developments that happened today. We are also working on the FEMA piece. We are trying to make sure that everyone is tracking all of their expenses, and I know that the Controller's Office is working on forms in order to make sure that that happens. We are also deploying our workforce wherever we can in order to have a positive impact. And I'm sure some of you have seen the news reports, but our Bristol-Burlington Health District, which is really in charge of this entire response, has deployed their school health nurses to the hospital to help with that effort. They're both at the testing sites. They're also at telehealth. The dental hygienist and health aides are helping take temperatures as people move around the building, and they are fully employed as well. We're talking with the president of Bristol Hospital several times a week about what those needs are. I know that the Public Works, we have our box truck that will be going with Marco Palmieri and our Emergency Management Director, Harley Graham, I believe on Thursday, to pick up a stockpile of supplies that are going to be brought back to Bristol. So the partnerships across departments have been really impressive. And overall, I think that all of our city employees should be commended for the effort that they're putting in. We also recently received a communication from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, where it appears that the CARES Act has made available through the CDBG process an additional $393,989 for our jurisdiction, and it's hoping that we will target that toward some of the unique needs of the low and moderate income people that live within Bristol. So we're going to be coordinating this with our state and local health authorities and most likely St. Vincent de Paul in order to get a plan in place where we can access those funds and protect those vulnerable populations. So that will be something that we're doing this week. We're also discussing whether it's time or whether we should wait a little bit, because as you can tell, things are changing just about every day. We do have the opportunity to do text and email alerts and callbacks through our Everbridge system. We have not yet done that as a community. We have been relying upon the media as well as social media to push out the majority of our messages. But I did want to just remind everybody on the council that we do have the opportunity to do that. And Chief Gould has supplied me with the Eversource information as well as some best practices and tips when you're sending out those types of mass notifications. We've had requests for how people can support. So Scott Rosato's wondering if we've lost connection. Are you back, Scott?
Maybe Scott
Okay,
can answer.
I think it's actually Scott that lost.
Yeah.
Okay. We are working with some of our volunteers, and if anybody does have requests for where people can send money, we are accepting donations here at the city for our Community Services Fund, which is run out of Youth and Community Services. Main Street Community Foundation has a COVID fund, as does the United Way. And those funds are again being used together in order to leverage when there's a situation, family, individual, somebody that needs something that we can have a direct impact on. I think that's it for me in terms of the coronavirus response and where we are today. Is there anything from the council members that they'd like to add? Okay. Brittany, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Yep.
Okay. All right. Scott, are you back? Can you hear us? You can hear us, Scott?
Back.
Okay. And Peter,
Yes.
you can still hear us?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Okay. It looked like it was cycling there for a minute, so I wasn't sure if we lost you. All right, so now we're going to start with bringing the new business items onto the table. The first one, who has the motion for the Louisiana Avenue Bridge project?
I do, Your Honor, and there's actually two motions regarding the Louisiana Bridge project.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to bring these two motions to the table.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on bringing the two motions for Louisiana Avenue Bridge to the table? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The first motion is to authorize the mayor to execute the state/city project authorization letter, PAL, associated with Louisiana Bridge construction in the amount not to exceed $3,718,440. Said amount is the total project construction costs inclusive of bridge replacement construction, inspection, engineering, and DOT administrative/testing cost. Total city cost shall not exceed $748,688,000 with federal reimbursement of $2,974,752.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes. The second motion for Louisiana Avenue?
The second motion is to award contract 2C20-052 bridge replacement at Louisiana Avenue to Schultz Corporation in the amount of $2,420,988.25 and to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute any and all documents necessary to effectuate said contract.
Is there a second?
Second.
Do
Discussion.
we have any idea of when that project will start?
Ray? We're waiting for Ray to come to the microphone.
Okay.
Yes, we're Ray Rogozinski, Director of Public Works. We're anticipating it starting in the next month. We're actually going to, Eversource is scheduled to be out in 2 weeks. The first thing that's going to happen is relocating overhead wires, and then we anticipate the contractor to start probably in a month.
Thank you.
Any other questions concerning the Louisiana Bridge?
Oh, actually, I have one more. So
Sure.
construction starting next month. Have the people on Louisiana Avenue been notified of an impact to their commute using that street?
They have been we contacted them, throughout the process. Now that we're just finalizing these agreements, we're going to reach out to all the affected property owners.
There was a public meeting as long ago as two or 3 years ago, originally at the library for the neighbors, that this will impact. One of the big impacts here will be that the bridge will be closed for a period of time, and the children that normally can walk to Stafford School from Brook Street and those neighboring streets are going to have some issues, and the Board of Education is also aware of that.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you very much.
Are there any other
Thank you, Ray.
questions concerning the Louisiana Avenue Bridge project? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. The second item that needs to be brought onto the table for discussion tonight is concerning the Historic Documents Grant. Who has that motion?
I do, Your Honor.
Councilman Hahn?
I'd like to make a motion to bring to the table the Connecticut State Historic Grant motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Your Honor, a grant was approved for a backscan project for the town clerk's office, and the vendor for the project that was selected,
Aye.
COT Systems, may not be able, or is not able to travel to Connecticut due to the COVID pandemic. So in case COT is unable to complete the project by the allotted time, we had a request for a motion for an extension. So I move to authorize Mayor Ellen A. Zaposasu or the acting mayor to execute the extension request for year 2020 for a 90-day extension for the Historic Documents Preservation Program grant with the Connecticut State Library.
Is there a second? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Second.
Aye.
What? All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you. The next item is the fire contract that we'd like to bring onto the table. Councilwoman Barney, do you have that motion?
I do. So first, I'd like to make a motion to bring the matter of the fire labor contract onto the table, please.
Second.
Discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Councilman Barney.
All right, so, sorry, Your Honor. The fire union's in the process of ratifying their contract, and in order just to make sure it moves into the next phase without losing time, I'd like to vote on it today. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the contract for the Bristol Fire Union, local number 773, for July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2022, pending ratification and approval of the bargaining unit and review by Corporation Counsel and the Human Resources Department. That was hard to get out.
Second.
Okay, the motion for the contract with Local 773 IAFF is on the table. I would like to just highlight some of the contract. The wage package is a 10% increase over the course of the contract, which is a 4-year contract, which is, we've tried to move all of our contracts to 4 years for better municipal financial planning purposes. This contract goes back to last July 1st, and it will run through June 30th, 2022. We've also succeeded in having the fire department join the other unions that we have negotiated with over the last 2 years, and they will be joining the high deductible healthcare plan, I believe, on July 1st, 2021. The high deductible healthcare plan will become the core plan for this union. So then we have, they will also have the benefit of a city contribution to their deductible. And within the pension piece, we have increased the employee contribution from 3% to 4%. And now, in addition, the city will also be able to allocate 1% of that amount to its OPEB fund, which is up from the 0.75% that is currently being contributed. The big piece, I think, if those of you were able to read this from this morning when it came over, is that we're able to now provide employees an option to elect a deferred retirement option plan. This is a benefit that's going to be referred to in our new language as the drop plan. And this is going to be a benefit within the city pension plan, which is going to allow for each eligible participant hired prior to the ratification of this contract while maintaining active employment with the city of Bristol, the right to earn and receive 55% of what would have been the pension benefits received. Let's see. They would receive 55% of what would have been the pension benefits such participant would have been paid had he or she retired from the city on the effective date of his or her election into the drop, but would the actual drop payment be made to such participant at the time of his or her actual normal retirement, in accordance with the specified terms set forth within the contract. For the employees that are hired after the ratification of the 2019-2023 agreement, the 55% set forth above will be 25%. And it's important to note that this is cost neutral to the pension plan at 55%, and it allows us for appropriate planning in terms of retirements, of which within the next 14 months, there could be upwards of 18 that are eligible to retire. When you factor that into the fact that the fire department is a one-for-one replacement from a manpower standpoint, that is going to take an awful lot of planning for us to make sure that we maintain adequate staffing within the fire department. There's a few other types of minor language agreement that is similar to what we've done with other contracts, including allowing a portion of sick time, which for the fire department amounts to 2 shifts, that they can do for the care of immediate family members. There's some agreements to update the uniforms, and the clothing voucher was not increased. There's some Janus decision language that's being cleaned up, and then some that really is just to clean up the contract language, nothing of major significance other than what I've gone through. So this agreement is through July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2023. Does anybody have any questions?
Your Honor, I think I will need to amend my motion because I stated 2022, not 2023. So
Okay.
I don't know how to.
Nope, we can just reflect the change in the motion that it's for, I think I gave you the wrong date. It's July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2023 are the terms of the 4-year contract. Starting July 1st, 2019.
You said 4-year, and I was like, I think I said the wrong year.
Okay, so those are the terms. Are there any other questions from council members, starting with those in the chamber, concerning the fire contract as presented?
No.
Anybody on the call? Councilman Hahn, did you have a question?
I do not.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everyone. And then the last item to bring onto the table as new business is the governor's executive order, which handles the tax deferment and interest issues that are impacting many businesses and individuals from an economic standpoint. And we have a deadline of April 24th in order to make a decision about how and if the city of Bristol would be participating and extending that tax deferment. So I believe we have a motion.
We do. I'll make a motion, Your Honor, to bring this item to the table, which is the question of deferring taxes based on the governor's executive order.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded to bring it onto the table. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. So we do have Attorney Clift with us, who's been spending an awful lot of time monitoring the executive orders. He has drafted a motion for us to review tonight in order for us to be authorized to make a decision before April 24th. I do want to just say that we do have a meeting planned with the, let's see, there's a whole bunch of people coming to that meeting or calling in. The Controller's Office, the tax collector, the treasurer's office, our Board of Finance chairman, I believe Councilman Proleski is coming, in order to assess and make sure that we all understand the best position that the city is going to take. So this motion is going to be done tonight, but I do want to leave it with a little bit of discretion that if we have staff make recommendations tomorrow that are not in line with what we've done tonight, we may have to have a special meeting, because I do want to rely on the expertise of those in the building to make sure that we're making the right decision. But in order to be efficient, we'll make a motion tonight for authorization so that we can move forward with this. Is there anything you wanted to add, Dale? Okay. Okay, so the motion, Councilwoman Fortier?
Yes. I hereby move that the City of Bristol participate in the deferment program as authorized by the Governor's Executive Order 7S, Section 6, whereby the city shall offer to eligible taxpayers, businesses, nonprofits, and residents a payment deferment of 90 days for any taxes on real property, personal property, or motor vehicles, and for municipal water and sewer rates, charges, or assessments that become due and payable during the period of March 10th, 2020 through and including July 1st, 2020. I further move that the mayor, Ellen A. Zapo-Sasu, or acting mayor, after consultation with the Board of Finance, comptroller, and department heads, be authorized to sign any application, certification, or attestation required by the Governor's Executive Order 7S, Section 6, on or before April 24th, 2020, to elect said deferment program.
Okay.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. For discussion purposes, is there anything that anybody would like to add? Okay, so pending any type of further input from our professional staff, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so we will keep everyone posted on that. Attorney Clift.
Councilman Proleski, did you have an additional item?
I
on the
do.
lockbox?
I do,
Okay,
thank
wanted
you.
to-
Oh, I'm sorry, I just grabbed it from Tracy. You have it?
Okay.
All right. So I was remiss, we actually have 6 items that we needed to bring onto the table. The 6th one is the lockbox services for tax collection operations. Councilman Proleski.
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, the city has the ability to collect taxes through a lockbox system, and our tax collector has worked to change providers, hoping to integrate into her system better and do it at a lower fee-based structure for the city. So I have a motion to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute any and all documents necessary to effect a contract with People's United Bank, N.A. for lockbox services, and to refer the matter to the Corporation Counsel's office.
Second.
Discussion on the motion? I just want to commend the tax collector and Bednaz for really being very tenacious about this. We've been talking about this for a while, and it's just great to see that this is getting done in advance of July 1st, and then there's going to be even more opportunities come January 1st. So this is a great policy for us to be able to get enacted. Anything else from anybody? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there any other new business to come before the city council, starting first with the council members that are here in chambers?
No.
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 And those that are joining us via WebEx? Any new business?
No.
Okay.
No.
So the next item is resignations.
There are no resignations, Your Honor.
Okay. No resignations. And for tonight, there is only one reappointment, and that would be for Joan Cloutier, a Republican, a reappointment for a 3-year term to April of 2023 to the city's Ethics Commission.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there any other business proper to come before said meeting tonight? Hearing none, then there is a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.